You're
So
welcome.
can you repeat? I had to go get some paper for the other thing.
I'm sorry, what am I repeating?
Do we have to like? Sorry, my baby sister.
It's okay.
Do we have to? What do we do with our objects or words?
Oh, that's what I'm going to show you now. Okay, I'm about to do a demo on that. Okay, so here we go. So you might be done with this, and that's great. If you're not done, then you can work on it, and that's fine too. So I have, here we go. I have my 10 hiking boots here. They all have different patterns, different colors. I drew them in different sizes. Um, Remember, I asked you to create variety in these, which means I'm creating a variety of the elements of art. So I have a variety of size, I have a variety of shape, I have a variety of color, I have a variety of texture. So those are some of the things you could focus on. And then I just cut them out, and I did like a really rough cut, right? I didn't follow exactly because I'm going to be gluing them down on a piece of white paper. So I don't really need to have those edges super clean. And I'm going to be painting on top of it. So um, the objective of this assignment is to take something that is recognizable and literal and turn it into something abstract, kind of like David Huffman did with his basketballs. So to do that, we need to sort of dismantle this. We need to take it apart. We need to deconstruct it. So how do we do that? Well, this is what I suggest. I would make a pile of your objects, and then I would go get your watercolor paper. It's really important that you use the right paper for this because we are going to be painting on it later, and the acrylic paint makes that drawing paper really warbly and warpy. So you need your thick watercolor paper for this. And I'm just going to start cutting up my shapes and turning them around and playing with them so that I can make them seem abstract, right? All I did was slice that shoe in half, and then I turned it sideways and I put it together, and now all of a sudden I have a very abstract pattern that looks nothing like my shoe, but I might see remnants of that shoe in there somewhere when I look at it. I wouldn't glue anything down yet. What I would do is go through and just kind of creatively cut up your shoes. You don't have to do one slice. You can get creative and like maybe cut using sort of organic shapes. So I sort of cut a circle out of that one, and now I have this edge. And you can do it in whatever way feels right to you. If you want to go one shoe at a time and place them in interesting ways, and then do another shoe, you can do that. But my strategy is to cut everything up first and then play with all my parts because I am striving for in this balance. Okay, so we'll talk about how I'm going to get balance. So this one, it might be fun to cut this in strips. You're going to have to let go, right, of your drawings. If you're really attached to the way you drew your thing, you're going to have to let go a little bit and be okay with cutting it up. For now, I'm going to keep them together in piles, but later I'll sort of mix and match. I can cut it in a swirly shape, trying to abstract these so I can still see elements of my object, but it's distorted. And you could go really far with this if you wanted, if it was your sort of inclination to chop this up into tiny little squares, go for it. You don't have to keep them full size. You can really cut them up into tiny pieces. You'll have more gluing to do, but if that's what the look you're going for, then go for it. Okay, so now this is what I'm going to do that'll be fun. I'm going to take all my shoe parts and I'm going to mix them up into a big soup. Then this might be fun for you, is throw it down on your paper here and then start spreading them out and playing with them. So when I get to this stage, how am I going to decide where things go? Well, you want to maybe pick a principle of design that you think is really interesting. So my principle that I think I'm going to pick is going to be asymmetrical balance. So that means it's visually going to be balanced but not the same on both sides. So that's sort of the rule that I'm going to be following when I'm building this. And you don't have to use all the space, all the pieces. It's a lot. So when I'm starting to build this, I want to think about the paper as being negative space. The white is negative space, and the colors and the dark Sharpie is the positive space. And I have to balance those two, right? So like, see how I made some really interesting negative space by putting these two shapes together? That's kind of fun. So I like that. So I'm going to go through and maybe try to repeat that in different ways throughout. And this is where you just have to start trusting your instincts. Looking for balance. That's really what I'm focusing on. Balance. Balance could be between dark lines and light lines. Balance could be between positive and negative shape and space. I can overlap. I don't need to space them all out. I can overlap them if I want. I can remove pieces if I don't like what I did. Some of my shoes are black and white, some of them are color. I could sort of balance out the black and white with the color. I think because I have so much complicated space here, I might just go crazy and do lots of overlapping just for fun, to confuse space. It's almost like a puzzle. And remember, you're going to be painting over some of this too with your acrylic paints. Not yet. Don't go do that over break. We're going to hold off on that until we get back. I really love this lace down the side. That's kind of fun. I also want to encourage you to resist making something recognizable out of this. So if you have this urge to make a face or make a figure or make an animal, resist that urge because we're working for something abstract. We're trying to go in the direction of abstraction, not more towards realism. So don't build a face with your shapes. Does anyone have any questions so far?
I have a question.
Okay.
When you're done with your paint tubes, I painted all 10 of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just want us to cut it up and do whatever you're doing, or do you want us to just cut it up or wait?
Cut it up. Go for it. If you're ready for this stage, work on it. You can proceed. And I'm really not gluing anything down until I'm happy with what I have here. And I don't have to use all my pieces. You want to use most of them, but you don't have to use all of them. So now that I have all these pieces on, do I have a question?
Yeah, I had a question. So how many of the objects did they draw?
10 objects.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I keep removing that Santa boot. For some reason it's not. Ooh, I like those 3 pieces together. Okay, I'm going to transfer those over here. I was just saying I don't like the Santa boot, and then that happened. Isn't that funny?
Mr. Ninja,
Uh-huh.
so on my object, there is an L, okay?
Uh-huh.
So I turned that L into a stocking.
You did?
Yeah.
How cute.
It looks so cute.
It's a theme. You have stocking, I have a Santa boot. So
I also did most of my object colors green and red.
awesome. All right, I'm noticing something here that's kind of fun that I'm going to play with for a little bit. I've connected the line that's on this boot to the line that's on this boot, and I've created a longer line. So I might go through and try to make lines through my artwork using the lines that are in my boot. I think that sounds really fun to me. Like, what's going to happen if I connect the lines? See, that's just changing my design completely. I just kind of started over on a different idea, which is fine. This is what I want you to do. I want you to play with these. Play until it feels like it's right. It looks like you want it to look. And you stop and say, that's done. I feel that it's done. Use your instincts. See, look at that. All of a sudden I have this black line that runs all the way through. How fun is that? Let me see here. I need to start a new line that's thinner, I think. I need some thin lines. Can I have more of these? I could add more. Looks like a big shoelace. Kind of ran out of that line, so I need some thicker lines down here. Maybe I start a new one that's texture from the boot tread. I'm sad that my webcam doesn't pick up the color. Now if I get closer you can see the colors here. Maybe if I'm a little bit tighter with my camera you can see.
It looks really nice.
Thank you. Yeah, my webcam has a tendency, it like focuses, but if I pull away too far, it focuses on the white and then you lose the white. So that's the bummer about the webcam. It's not super high res. Maybe if I just drop down, it cuts off a little bit, but its focus is a little better.
You have a lot of colors.
Yeah, I created a lot of pattern within the color too, the way I just kind of drew it. Overlapping is really fun too. Don't forget to overlap. Especially when you put a black and white thing over top of something that's color. That's kind of fun because it sort of erases your pattern and then it creates some confusion of depth like that. And if you wanted to go off your picture plane here, like if I wanted this to hang off, you could do that. You don't have to stick within the confines of this rectangle, right? It's abstract art. So if you wanted to make it go beyond the rectangle or cut the corners off of your rectangle, go for it. So as you're doing this, I want you to remember the artist, the Ethiopian artist that we looked at, and a lot of you commented that she stood back and really analyzed her work a lot when she was building her pieces. Remember, she'd move a shape, and then she'd stand back and look at it, and then she'd move it to a different spot. And that's how she came kind of to the finished product of her work, was really analyzing from a distance what was happening. And guess what? You can change sometimes it helps me to change the orientation of how I'm working on this. All of a sudden you turn it this way and it's a totally different work of art. Or you turn it this way carefully so you don't lose your design. And you say, do I like it better like this? Do I like it better like this? Ooh, I think that's the way for me. I don't know, all of a sudden this is clicking into place when I turned it like that. This is probably how I would hang it if it were in a gallery. And all of a sudden you see it differently. I feel like it's almost done. Remember, you do not need to use all of your pieces. It would be a good idea to try to get them placed and glued down by today so you don't have to start over and lose your design. I'm going to start with this. I've got a few extra pieces that I might need, but what I'm going to do is tack down the pieces that are on the bottom first. And take one more look at it, decide if it's what I want. Make sure I have some visual balance. And then you can start to tack things down. Actually, I would put a good amount of glue on the back because you don't want that piece to come up later after you paint on it. You want it to be nice and glued down. It doesn't matter if you don't have a glue stick, any type of glue is fine. Ooh, I'm going to connect that line to this line. See, I just changed my mind. It's like if I'm going to commit, I need to really make sure it's where I want it to be. I'm going to pull away so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Kind of forgot where that was supposed to go. You guys feel like you need more time at the end of class today, I can give you an extension if you want to work on it over break a little bit. That's fine. I don't want you to stress about finishing it. It does need to be finished before you come back so that we can start our painting.
Miss Greninger,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but I don't. I am done with all my objects, but I don't think I'll be like done placing them and everything by today.
That's okay. That's fine. I'll give you guys an extension. But, you know, I also don't want you to have to work over break. So do your best to finish as much as you can today. Don't go start going slower because you know you have more time. Okay, I want you to really try your best to finish so you can just take a break. It's hard too once you pick it up and put glue on it and you go back to put it back down again. I'm discovering that I'm having to remind myself, well, where did I have that? How did I have that? And then sometimes I think I'm putting it down differently than I had originally had it. So you're making these.
Mr. Ninja,
Yeah.
I wanted to color one of my objects with this color that I really like, but I didn't have the color, so I mixed a tiny bit of paint, okay?
Sure.
And I created this beautiful, beautiful teal.
Oh, good. That's one of my favorite colors.
Yeah, my favorite color is cyan, teal, light pink, light purple. I like a bunch of pastel colors.
Pastels are great. I like to put colors next to each other that don't seem like they should go next to each other. I am sort of drawn to odd colors. Miss Groninger. Hey. Yeah, do you want me to just private message her? Probably because you don't want to say it in front of the whole. Yeah. Sure. No, I could private message her and then just do it. Do you want to try that? Yeah, I can email that. Why don't I try just sending her through your link first? Okay. And if that doesn't work, let me know. Okay. Bye. Oops.
Miss Granger.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can see my screen right now, I did stuff like this.
Hold it up a little
and
closer.
this.
So you have some numbers?
It's the word hello in different languages.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's fine. You can cut those up and do something interesting with those.
Okay, I just want to make sure if I'm okay because they're really small and I'm trying to make them bigger. Just want to make sure.
Sure.
Miss Greninger.
Yes.
So my Wi-Fi was acting up, and my computer wasn't working. Like it wasn't turning on.
Okay.
So that's why I wasn't able to go to class.
Okay, I'm glad you're here now. So right now, Raphael, we're working on cutting up our 10 objects and collaging them on our watercolor paper.
Got it.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know. And I sent a private message to somebody. Can everybody look at the chat, please, and make sure it's if it's for you, you got it, and then respond to me. Okay, thank you.
And also, I don't have my watercolor paper because when I was moving, I still can't find it.
Who is this? That's Serenity?
Yes,
Serenity,
sir.
do you want me to leave you a piece in the front office?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll make a note to do that and I'll do it right after this class, okay?
Okay.
Just remember that the office is closed next week, so if you want it for next week, you're gonna have to come today. They close at 4.
Okay.
Does anybody else not have their watercolor paper?
I have watercolor paper. Yeah,
Okay.
but you only give me 5 pieces.
Oh, that's plenty.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm about halfway done gluing these down. And my goal is to get them all glued by the end of class. That does not have to be your goal. If you're still working, that's fine.
Miss Greninger,
Uh-huh.
I have a question about objects.
Okay.
Do the objects have to be like in order, or can they be like one piece at one corner and the other piece at the other corner?
That is totally up to you.
Okay.
As you're building your collage and you're starting to glue things down, in the back of your mind, start thinking about how would I paint on this? What am I going to do when I start painting on it? You noticed in David Huffman's work, let me see if I can share my screen while I'm taping. This piece right here, look at this mesh. Where do you think that mesh is from?
The basketball ring?
Yep.
Thing?
Yeah, the net, the basketball net. And he's laid it down and he's used it as a template to spray paint through. So you can see different colors in the string and everything in the net. So what an interesting texture to include in with his basketballs, right? It's abstract, but there's a reference. So think about that. What are some of the textures that have to do with your object? Some of my textures are shoelaces, tread on a shoe. I could bring my hiking boot in and stamp some paint, use it to stamp some paint to make sure that I can still clean that paint off my boot. I don't want to ruin my boot, but I could probably get away with creating a stamp and just wipe the acrylic paint off. So I could use shoelaces, stamp on the tread. There's probably texture on the side of the boot. I could use, maybe do a rubbing, which is where you put paper down on the texture and then you use crayon or something to rub it on the texture, and then you get an interesting texture.
Miss Greninger, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
My paint tubes are like really, I drew them pretty big, but there's still a lot of white space. Is that okay?
Yeah, the white space will be, you might want to consider filling that white space with some color and pattern, kind of like I did with the boots. Because it's just going to add another dimension to your painting if you do that.
I'm not talking about the boot. I'm not talking about my paint tube. I'm talking about the paper.
Oh,
Paper.
yeah. You want to have some negative space in there because that's where you're going to put the paint. You're also going to paint on top of your objects too. You're going to sort of layer.
Oh,
Miss Greninger? Hi. Okay. She said she was going to, so let me check again. I said in the chat I asked her to respond to me, and then she said she would. So let me see. Yeah. This is okay then. Let me try to get her. Do you want me to just do breakout room? No, that's fine. Let's try that because then she'll see the message on her computer. I will send you a link to my virtual classroom. Okay. Mm-hmm. Give me a second, guys. All right, I sent another private message to a student in class. I'd like everybody to look at your messages just to make sure it's for you or not for you. And then the person I'm sending it to, can you please respond? Okay, thank you. All right, so we're going to finish up this demo here. Sorry for the interruption. I'm almost done gluing. I've decided to kind of take away some of the shapes in this corner here. I just felt like it was a little bit too busy. And I really like this negative space because it looks kind of like a boot. So I sort of enjoyed that. And I feel like it's a little busy up here, but I wanted this line to continue. I really thought that was fun. And I think this dark line here balances out this dark line. There's a little bit dead up here. I need to maybe add something to complete this corner. There we go, that's it. Just got to trust your gut. Your gut will at some point say, okay, that looks good. And sometimes you don't even really know why. It just is, it just does. You know what I'm doing too, for some reason it's helping me, is I'm looking at my screen while I'm moving this around instead of down at my paper. It's like a different perspective, and it's helping me make creative choices because I can see the negative space a little better. And then I'm gonna flip it around and see if I like it better from different perspectives. This is originally how I started it. Look at this. I made a whole other boot shape with my boots, and I didn't even realize I did it until the end. These are the type of little magical things that can happen when you work with abstraction. Because you're thinking boot, right? In your mind's eye, you're like, there's boots all over the place. So you make a boot and you don't even really realize you did it. So maybe look for those things in your own work. I think I like it from all sorts of different perspectives. Maybe either this way or this way. This looks like the boot to me, and this looks like the laces, the shoelaces. All right, cool. So I have all these leftover pieces. You could save them for later. Maybe after you paint a little bit, you decide you want to add more on top of the paint. You can do that. We're probably going to be doing like a glazing of Elmer's glue on top when we're done, if you have that. So I am done for now, and I'm going to call this complete for the time being. I'm going to go ahead and post this video and take a picture of this so you can see. And just keep working until about 10:05. And then we'll post, I want you to post a whip today. We're going to change your assignment to post a whip. And then this won't be due until the Tuesday after break.